Is being the best in the world cursed? Does the number one spot give so much pressure to the players that they cannot perform as they did before? We are now 5 months into the year. 5 months since Kim Astrup and Anders Rasmussen became world number one in men's doubles. As world number ones, they must have won most of their matches, and maybe even some tournaments. Maybe they had some losses here and there, but at least they reached the semifinals most of the time, right? Well, this has not been the case for Astrup and Rasmussen. In 2025, they have yet to win a single match in the BWF World Tour ever since they won the World Tour Finals last December. They have lost in the first round in the Malaysia Open against Chu and Wang, in the India Open against Kang and Jin, and the All England against Fikri and Martin. These haven't been easy draws by any means, but being world number one, you are expected to win every single match, and losing all three of them is way below expectations. Their only wins this year have been in the Sudirman Cup against ranked 41 from India and ranked 56 from England, the European Championships against ranked 58 from Germany, and the European Mixed Team Championships against ranked 90 from Azerbaijan. This means that they haven't won a single match against a pair in the top 40 since becoming number one. These results are completely opposite to the past year before they reached number one, where they made the quarterfinals in 14 out of 18 tournaments, making the finals in 7 of them, and winning 4. They performed amazingly in the year before getting rank 1, but right after that, they can't even win a match. This must be a fluke. No way does getting number one severely impact your performance. Maybe Astrup Rasmussen are too old and can't keep up their performance. Other number one pairs must have performed much better. Actually, no. This is the curse of the world number one, and it has not only plagued Astrup and Rasmussen, but it has affected the past number one pairs as well. Liang Weikang and Wang Chang were the previous world number ones, gaining it the first time all the way back in September of 2023. Comparing their performance in the year before getting that rank to the year after they got it, we can see a decrease in consistency. Before reaching world number one, they made 13 out of 17 quarterfinals. But after that, they only made 7 out of 13, about 22% decrease. The curse didn't affect them as bad as Astrup and Rasmussen though, since they actually made more finals and won more titles. However, they also had more early round exits than before. The curse continues. The world number ones before them were Rankireddy and Shetty, who were very dominant in 2023, the year that got them the number one ranking. But after they achieved this ranking, their performance became much worse. These are the results 1 year before and 1 year after reaching the world number one, comparing tournaments when they had the number one ranking versus when they were not number one. They only played 4 tournaments while having the number one ranking, and in those 4 tournaments, they exited the first round 1 time, exited the second round 2 times, and only won 1 time. When they did not have the number one ranking, they were able to make 19 out of 28 quarterfinals, winning 7 of them, including the Asian Games and the Indonesia Open. This pattern continues for the 2 previous world number ones. Alfian and Ardianto had an amazing 2022, making a lot of finals and winning some major titles like the All England and Denmark Open. They became world number ones at the end of 2022. They still performed well in the first couple of tournaments since becoming number one. However, it was not long before they could barely make the semi-final. Hoki and Kobayashi also did quite well in 2022, until they got the number one spot. Then they lost twice in the first round and twice in the quarterfinals during their 4 tournaments as world number ones. Their performance started to recover again after they lost the number one spot. This really showcases the curse of being number one. That pressure really got to Hoki and Kobayashi, that they can perform much better when they did not have that ranking. Does every player or pair that reaches number one get heavily impacted by the added pressure of being the best in the world? Is this a curse for every discipline? The number one spot in men's doubles has cursed the last 5 pairs that claim it. These pairs have not been able to hold the number one title for a long time. The longest out of these 5 pairs was Alfian and Ardianto, who were able to retain the spot for 37 weeks, which is not that long. In recent years, every other discipline has had a dominant player or pair holding the number one spot for a much longer time. In men's singles, we have Xiu Qi, who has held it for the past 48 weeks and counting, and Victor Axelsen before that held it for 132 weeks. For women's singles, An Se-young has practically held it for the past 89 weeks, dropping it for 2 weeks due to her injury. In women's doubles, we recently had Chen Qingchen and Jia Yifan, who held it for 147 weeks. And finally, in mixed doubles, there was Zheng Siwei and Huang Yachong, who held it for 102 weeks from 2022 to 2024, and before that, they held it for an incredible 173 weeks straight from 2018 to 2021. So this curse doesn't really exist in the other disciplines, only in men's doubles for the past 3 years. But why has it only happened for the past 3 years? Has the competition gotten more intense and reaching the limit? Or have there not been any superstar pairs like the other disciplines? Well, who held the number one rank before Hoki Kobayashi 3 years ago? Of course, this pair was Kevin Sanjaya Sukamuljo and Marcus Fernaldi Gideon, or the Minions. They were the most dominant men's doubles pair since 2016, achieving the number one rank in 2017, and they only got better from there. We can do the same comparisons we did before, seeing how their performance changed the year before they got the number one rank to the time when they had the number one spot. When they were not number one, they made the finals an impressive 35% of the time. But during their time as number one, they were able to win almost half the tournaments they played in. That is absolutely insane. We can also look at their performance for the year after they become number one, and they reached the finals over 78% of the time, winning over 64%. Utterly ridiculous. They held that number one spot for 260 weeks in a row. The Minions is arguably the most popular pair in badminton, so maybe they were just an anomaly. They definitely were an anomaly in terms of popularity, skill, and character. But they were not the only pair to hold the number one spot for a long time in men's doubles. Before them, there was Lee Yong-dae and Yu Yeon-song, who held the number one spot for 117 weeks. So, is this a sign of players approaching the limit in badminton, where many pairs are extremely competitive and none are a clear favorite? Why is this only happening in men's doubles? Is this a sign for the future of badminton? Will all the other disciplines follow suit and be as competitive and unpredictable as men's doubles? Or are we just waiting for the next superstar to fill the hole in men's doubles that was left behind by Kevin Sanjaya, Marcus Gideon, Lee Yong-dae, and Yu Yeon-song?